It's time for First and 45 with Coach Fitzhill. First and 45, identifying social determinants contributing to the homicide epidemic, killing black males before the age of 45. For the next hour, get into the game with the Coach Fitzhill, Pastor Drew Davis, and yours truly, Bishop Fred Harris. Special guest on tonight, Dr. Flav. Here's Pastor Drew Davis.
Hey, I just need to ask our producer, was that enough pop there? The way he said Flav? is that the pop you're looking for? Just one thing, we've had a producer here for a while that she doesn't like her name pronounced on the air or anything, but this is our last week with her. She's leaving us to go study in Korea.
What's her name again?
I'm not saying her name on the air.
Oh, okay.
Shoot. Okay, CJ. Not gonna say what that stands for, but just thank you for all you've done for us all this time.
Hey,
so
man.
We appreciate it. So we are going to miss
Appreciate
you greatly.
you. Good luck to you.
And Coach, I mean, you come running in here last minute at the buzzer, and you bring Dr. Prince. So hopefully you got him primed and ready.
Yep.
On the way up the elevator.
He stays ready. He's been talking, explaining meta to everybody. Dr. Dillahay came over today, Department of Health, which provides First and 45 with research material. Mr. Paul Stagg stopped through. Our PR person, David Martin. Tomorrow we're looking for Mark Savers to stop by and see. Prosecutor Juvenile, lead Casey, was there, and she spent about 2 hours with the students,
jamming with them in the studio.
The music and all. It was impressive. We're looking forward to Friday. Hopefully, we get through. Dr. Prince, I'm sure he'll talk about it, but he's really excited about what the students have been able to accomplish. His staff has done an incredible job. This is day 16 straight days. I'm 16 down, 3 to go. I'm looking forward to Saturday. But as I told him, it's probably been one of the most gratifying experiences I've had that I've experienced to see the transformation to take place from week 1 to week 2 and to week 3. One of the students said, "I don't want to go back," and I said how soon can I get here? I said we're working on that, as we speak. So it's been an eye opener on many
good problem
in many occasions.
Yeah. Peter's come back with several stories. Daniel's come back with several stories, and every one of them repeats that fact of they're just so thankful for the opportunity. Mm-hmm. And I think when we look at kids that are out there in the world today, we think of them as ungrateful. We think of them as all kinds of crazy negative terms. But what we're talking about here are a group of kids that have otherwise been written off. This isn't alternative school. This is like, you're not even allowed anywhere near our school. And they've stepped into this, and in 3 weeks, they've taken advantage of the opportunity.
Absolutely.
It's been incredible.
So,
first graduating class.
Yeah. What do you think? I mean, how just based off you do this all around the country. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so you have we're blown. I mean, we don't have the assessments to be able to take from. Of course, we've seen it. That's why I'm here today, Bishop, because of what his vision. That's what I want him to say. But on Friday, he said, "Hey, I want you to meet this guy. Let's go." And so he paid for us to all go there and came, just all that happened and out of happenstance. But I told Dr. Prince last week when we were talking, I said, God made this happen for a reason, to bless his children in a way that we knew that they needed to be blessed, and to give them light in the darkness that they oftentimes see. And I know you sit all around the country because you just flew in today, flying in from other schools that you've started. But you also see tremendous opportunity here that can set a national trend and a national model for educational transformation for the least of these.
Yeah, so there's a couple things that as time goes by, You know, one of the first conversations Drew and I had, we were sitting, what was the name of the restaurant we were sitting at the first time we met?
We were in
Downtown.
Queens.
Yeah. What was the name of that place?
Oh, I can't remember. Marius probably would remember because Marius
he likes to eat.
And then Wendell and
Marius showed up.
Yeah.
And he was there. Then his wife was already there. You know, he ate about 3 plates.
He would never remember that.
He eats now.
But one of the things that Drew and I talked about is, you know, prior to going to talk to the state about whatever, I just drove around to, you know, what were considered the most, you know, neglected neighborhoods. And, you know, I don't know if you remember, but the first thing I said, I was like, there's nothing to do, right?
Yeah.
Like, how can you expect people to keep themselves busy with limited economic ability, right? I don't know if you saw the statistic the other day. This is the first time in a long time that there are more people out of work than there are actual jobs right now, right? That hasn't happened in a very long time. And those who are graduating with computer science degrees are the most unemployable people right now.
yeah.
And so if the educated are fighting for the few jobs, what are you going to do with the people that don't have the resources, right? And there's nothing to do. And so, you know, and Drew was asking me at dinner, he was like, you know, at lunch, he was like, well, what do you think? I was like, you got to find them something to do, you know, first and foremost, right? Find them something to do. And then one of the conversations we had shortly after that is we were reading in Thessalonians when it just talked about, you know, find a skill and mind your business, right? And when you walk into that room, what do you see? You see kids that have picked a skill, and they're just in it for 2, 3, 4 hours at a time. And they're not just even minding their business, they're helping one another mind their business. And one of the things that, you know, even though, you know, we see, you know, this sort of thing in action, one of the things that we do not see is the levels of, you know, you got people from out of town coming in to help teach. You have, you know, the training of the students, the Arkansas Baptist students, and all that means in terms of the nuances and the, you know, the light in their eyes that they're feeling useful, feeling important, you know, as we talked about, feeling validated. And then you see these kids that were, you know, sitting in jail on Monday morning, you know, two and a half weeks ago, and now that they're thriving, and to watch in concert, you know, them master skills, it's incredible. And you know, I have one of our Meta director teachers from Detroit just flew in yesterday, and she was just here all day yesterday, and she's walking around with the kids, and she goes, it's incredible how much work these kids have done. She goes, I've never seen kids do this much work. And they have, you know, as you said, Drew, they have taken the opportunity presented to them, and they make the most of it. And, you know, I was doing a Bible study last week about the scriptures of make every effort, and you're watching the fact that how much effort Fitz has put in for 16 straight days, how much effort the Baptist kids are putting in, how much, you know, my Meta staff is putting in. And you see, make every effort, right, to enter into that rest. Make every effort to, you know, grasp hold of that, all the different scriptures that come with it. And you watch the kids making every effort to do what they have to do. And so I see God moving.
Dr. Prince, let me ask you a question. I think that, you know, just from the lens, you have experience where you've done this as the founder. You've done it in other states. When you look at Arkansas, and after having spent the time with the kids, spent the time on the campus, and spent the time with the coach and Pastor Drew, just learning about the community, can you just speak to pastors that are listening now, parents that are listening now, who really don't know about this, and just kind of speak to not only what this would do and does for this community and what it can do for this community, and the impact that it could have on these individuals who are dealing with the areas of brokenness that you're talking about?
Sure. You know, I think that first off, I think it's difficult for for folks to sort of understand what everything our youth are going through. Even what Drew said, like our kids are very grateful, they're very responsive. But if you talk to most people, they're like, oh, they're lazy, they're unresponsive. All they care about is what's on their phone. Okay, start there for a second. If all they care about what's on their phone, what are the things that they're looking at, right? Is it just this tunnel into depravity, or are their eyes also opened up to what other people have, what other people can do, what other people have access to, and what they don't? And so when they walk in, what did Coach say today of his recruitment? It's 100%. When he brings the football players and they see that,
matter.
Because and here's one of the things that's different. When I first started this, social media didn't have this sort of thing on there, right? And so when kids would walk in, right, and we're talking about kids that were street hustlers and living in trap houses, they would walk into our schools and they were like, the heck is this? And so because they didn't understand why there's all this machinery and stuff like that here, they hadn't seen it yet. And so it took them some time to go, oh, I see, you're really showing us how to do this is this. And we took their hustler mentality, and once they got it, they're like, we're gonna open up the store, we're gonna do this, and they got it. Nowadays, we have to be cognizant of the fact that whether how much of it's valid or true, kids are seeing the lives that other people are living. Like for 9-10 hours a day. And they're either going off into this alternate reality of like, well, I wish I was like this or like this person, or they're really wishing, I wish I had the access to do these things. So now when you take that same kid and put them in a regular setting where they know that what I'm being taught or told is not going to help me meet my reality or, do anything for me, well, you have what I think is very common nowadays is where a lot of people, parents, pastors, teachers are like, why are these kids so depressed, right? Why are they so disconnected? And that's not just, that goes, traverses the socioeconomic spectrum. And so we're dealing with a country that's grappling with why are kids not connecting? Why are they not going out? Why are they not wanting to date? Why are they not doing these things? And why are they sitting in depression? And when you walk into the Scott Ford Center and you can just feel the energy,
man,
it's so palpable. And, even from the first day where the kids are like, okay, I'm believing something, they were just happy to get out, right? But you can see now, they're like, hey, what's going on? Blah, 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 blah. Let me show you what I've done. Blah, 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 blah. Let me show you what I'm working on. Blah, blah, blah. They're, and we call it self-determination, right? Their autonomy, their competency, their relevancy, all that stuff is skyrocketed for them. But more importantly, they're not spending their time peering into an alternate universe in their phone that, for those who have a lot of trauma, sitting with your trauma, sitting still with your trauma, not having anywhere to go, it multiplies.
It's like a bed sore.
Yeah. And it just multiplies and multiplies. And so, the simplest way to put it is how can you re-engage your child, right? You as a parent, can you put this down and engage your child, right? Do you have, opportunities and ways to connect with your child in a way that's going to, get them out of, sort of their headspace? And so, the biggest thing I can say is we have to do better at connecting, the thoughts, the dreams, the visions that these kids have, the emotional, status of where they are, and go, how do we meet somewhere in the middle to sort of revive, their connection with the world, right? Their connection
rather
with
than
each
suspend
other.
them and send them back to.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question, but.
And with that, the first quarter
Is over.
is in the books with this.
Yeah.
So
We'll get a prayer when we get back.
we'll get a prayer when we get back. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back with First and 45 with Coach Fitzhill.
One thing I know. Hey, yeah, God is good all the time. If he ain't, then you lying in the rain, in the the shine. God is good all the time. God is good all the time. If he ain't, then you lying in the rain, in the sun. God is good.
Listen up, my boy Antoine has a story for you.
I got bullied and abused. Then I graduated from high school and went to college. And then I had my Grambling experience. I went to the Grambling State University, where I excelled in SGA, was choir director, founder of the gospel choir, tech team, and...
Does everybody know what SGA is?
Yes, Student Government Association. I'm sorry about that. Then my father got diagnosed my freshman year of college, and I had to drop out of college to see about him. Then I started working at a 9-to-5 at Walmart and got fired and went to jail. Yeah. Went through pretrial probation, wrote my first book. When I got out, I helped myself learn how to budget and start doing things for myself. Started working at a funeral home, and then I quit working and became self-employed. Then I started door dashing, driving for Lyft and Uber. And then while I was doing it, I became homeless, living in my car. And I started doing good again and making $1,500 a week. And then I got arrested again and went back to jail. And then I got out and I said, I'm gonna change my life. And I got called into the ministry and I became a pastor in Arkansas. Amen. And when I came up here with nothing but my clothes. And I had to work for everything I had, including my own vehicle, my own house, everything. Got everything back, wrote my second book, which is my autobiography. And then I came to Little Rock for the first time. When I came to Little Rock, I met Arkansas Baptist College. I enrolled back into school as a transfer student and became a student leader. And now I'm in the middle program getting ready to open up my $1 million business.
Won't you wrap me up inside your life? Whoa, I know everything's gonna be alright.
Wow, nothing like telling your own story. Huh?
Let's believe this shit gonna last for life.
I was saying during the break, it's interesting that roughly 2% of the incarcerated youth in Arkansas are currently at Arkansas Baptist as part of this program.
Wow.
They're living there. Mm-hmm. They're eating there. I mean, everything. And what I find amazing is that most of the time when they say, I'm going to build a jail, no one wants to live next to the jail. I mean, when we look at what's been going on with these kids, they have not gone into the community. They have stayed right there. They've not tried to escape. They've not tried to do the things. They have engaged 100% in pursuing something that's a passion point for them. Right. And we all the time, we share the Archbishop Desmond Tutu's story of standing beside a river and you see bodies floating downstream, drowning victims one after another, and people are jumping in to pull them out and save who they can. His heroic type incident. But after a while, someone finally asks the right question: why are so many people falling in upstream? Mm-hmm. And this is what is exciting to me, is this is upstream. This is, we know the statistic that once a kid leaves juvenile detention, 84% will be incarcerated within 5 years for an average sentence of 12. National DOJ statistic. Our incarceration system isn't working. Why not do something different? And that's what's exciting to me, because this is, totally different. Because when you go into the juvenile detention facilities here, there is more boredom than what you talk about on the streets with these kids. They're locked up. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. There's no real re-engagement to start thinking about what's life going to look like when you leave. And these kids, they are so desperate to figure out, how in the world do I come here when I leave? Mm-hmm. Not go back to where I came from, but to go where I can go somewhere different in the future. That's exciting mm-hmm. for me, because what we're talking about is dreaming again.
Yep.
We always say every Arkansan chasing their God-given dream. These kids are starting to say, man, I can have a dream again. My dream doesn't have to be a cot and 3 hot meals and just living this life. My dream doesn't have to be on the streets. My dream can be building something and doing something. And then you were talking during the break when the bridge illustration was kind of going. I mean, there's something totally amazing to listen to a kid who has been through trauma starting to talk about that trauma in a way that's processing it, in a way that's saying, I was here, but now I'm here. That's the salvation message. I once was lost, but now I'm saved. And with so much of this, these kids are jumping in. I mean, I think in society we look out there and, okay, we get all upset, and so we're going to hold a vigil, and we're going to have our funerals, and then there's going to be arrests, and then we're going to have marches and mourning and all that. But these kids are saying, no, man, I'm going to be that spark. And that's exciting to me from the first moments we talked on the phone, that Samantha's restaurant is where we were that day. It's kind of crazy because your whole journey here, what you were intended to do and all of that was a dead end. But we met. LDR said, Drew, you got to go over there. You just got to jump in. And Mara, several of us went over there and jumped in. And now look at where God's taken things in a totally different direction than I think what you even were hoping for.
Well, I wasn't hoping for that meeting to go well from the state. But it's all about, once again, that turning off the faucet.
Yeah, it is.
It's right now, I think society, the way we've done prisons, the way we've done education, it's like, okay, kid, the building's flooding, go get a mop and a bucket. Versus saying, hey, let's be smart enough and let's go just turn off that faucet before we clean it up. And that's what's going to turn some things on the ear. We've already seen a lot of pushback because, man, this could wreck
disruption.
The prison pipeline.
It's disruption.
This could wreck the concept that the only way to get ahead in this world is a 4-year university degree. Because guess what? We can say what we want to about the big, beautiful bill, opening up FAFSA to these other opportunities, whether it's welding, electrical, plumbing, HVAC. I was reading an article the other day. A gentleman just sold his plumbing company in London for $180 million US. Plumbing company. When you start looking at, Coach, you've talked about this several times in talking to bankers. Some of the most financially secure people in this country are trades.
That's right. Banker said it. He said when I was telling him about this, one of the banker presidents said, This he said, your data is accurate. He said, because the people who have the most cash in my bank, cash, are tradespeople.
That's right.
I mean, when you look at it, the street economy is built on fast money, quick results, instant. The skill economy is built on a little bit of patience. It's built on training, that delayed reward, but that long-term stability. And what I really get excited about is when we start talking about the potential for generational wealth, to where dad is looking down and saying, man, I'm going to set my son up. I'm going to set my grandchildren up. I'm going to create a legacy here that is generational, versus so many of our kids, the generational curse is, mom was 13 when she had her baby, at 26 had a grandbaby. We got a bunch of teenage pregnancies in the family, or we've got a lot of people incarcerated in the family. Because we've all got that side of the family that has way more incarcerations than any of us want to talk about.
It's interesting you bring that up too. In the 9 kids that we have, I think of those, nearly 50% of the kids that we have, of the 2% that you've identified that's at ABC, parents are incarcerated.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's just...
currently incarcerated.
Yeah, currently.
Say that again?
Yeah. Nearly 50% of our 2% have parents. And then I think another 30% have had somebody wounded in their life. So when you start seeing how this works, this virus, I mean, the sin factors that fall down to our children, we have to disrupt that, and that's what God calls us to do. And we can sit back, and as I was talking to Dr. Dillahay today, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to get data. But I've been researching this data since Derek was murdered. And hello, Mother Olivier, if you're out there, and since 2012. And so that's the reason I'm so grateful that God put Dr. Prince in our lives. When Drew introduced me to him, is because it really gave us an action game plan to eradicate the things that I was writing about. So people got tired. Well, so what's your solutions? What's your solution? And Meta 24 is the solution. You just have to create that environment so you can, like a control group. I think it's so interesting that last month, the state of Arkansas put out that 763 people got their GEDs while they're incarcerated.
Incarcerated.
Yeah. So that's.
Well, I think that was just even one. I think that was just Malvern to boot. I mean, it wasn't the whole state.
Okay, but
so it's like massive.
The largest. So now you have 763 individuals that have been in a control group to go and get their GED. And so, but what that speaks to, in my opinion, based on my review of data, review of literature, is that it probably wouldn't have happened. They probably wouldn't have been incarcerated had they not dropped out of school.
Had that hope been given.
So the issue is now the reason that what I think we're doing, it has a little model to it, because I really believe this: the juvenile detention facility, it's a boarding school that you have to go to, that you have to get educated. But been up to them long enough. It is a boarding school. So my deal is, let's create that model on the other side. And so what we've done for 3 weeks is we have created a boarding school outside of the prison,
right,
with Meta, with a vision of reintegration, with knowledge that's transformative, that now makes you a productive citizen to be reintegrated into society. This is not calculus. It's just strategies that all people have to come together, and everybody have to play their part in order to score a touchdown for our children.
Right.
That's what we're not doing. That's what has not happened for us to be able to make the progress that we've made. First, you got the curriculum, which he said the kid is the curriculum. Okay. Then you have DYS that comes in. Then you have the prosecutor's office that comes in. Then you have Every Arkansan as our nonprofit entity that pulls everything, moves. Today, 100 families came over to Shauna. She came over and looking how with GVI, how all of this works, but then saying, well, this component of Meta and education for the families of the 100 families of GVI is a component of how it works. I say, absolutely.
And I think, we talk about Meta, we talk about our youth, but Meta is just as applicable to the whole family.
Yep.
We've got a generation of lost men that have kind of just wandered into oblivion, sitting on the front porch doing nothing good, nothing productive, and they're driving Ubers or Lyfts or hodgepodge of hustles and all this other stuff. Man, this isn't a commitment to these young men for the next 4 years or 8 years or whatever. Man, you can make life-changing alterations in months.
Yeah, 6 months.
And when Dr. Prince was talking about all these computer programmers, because I remember that when I was starting college, so this would have been 1991, 1992, computer programming, man, that was the thing. This is a career that's going to last a lifetime. This is something you better go after. And a lot of people were chasing it, and the money was big in all of this. But then, as everything with technology, things shifted. And now we're looking at AI doing programming, different things like that. But guess what didn't shift? You still need electricity to make those puppies work. You still need that car engine running to get to work. There's so many of these variables that are careers that are life-changing for our young people that man, they work just as well if you're in your early 20s or even in your 30s to chase after one of these things and to change your life and the life of your family. Hey, it is the end of the first half of First and 45 with Coach Fitzhill. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
You've never been closer than you are right now. You are a child.
As a former football coach, knowing the engagement that takes place on the football field, the basketball courts, the track, baseball, outside of extracurricular activity, META is the best academic curriculum I've seen for the oftentimes socially challenged student. And glad to have a pilot program going here now with Hamilton Learning Academy, as well as Juvenile Detention Facility, to inspire, grow hope to a population of kids who sometimes don't believe that in the United States that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is for them. And so this opportunity allows them to see that, to feel that, and to engage in that, and to leave here thinking that I can do something that maybe they didn't think they could do prior to enrolling in the META 24 program.
All right, who's the CFO? Yeah. Come on up. Give the CFO a round of applause. All right, what's the marketing promotion team? Me.
My name's Shania, and I make this pillow. It's a baby pillow for babies. It can be for a boy or for a girl. It's saying, be what you want to be. I really want to make a side hustle of this and give pillows to the hospital so you don't get good rest with soft pillows like this.
In the future, I want to 3D print some stuff that will help us in the world. I would love to print 3D houses to help architects build real houses because there's a lot of people in the world that homeless right now, and I feel like if I'm able to print 3D houses, I feel like architects can make more houses faster.
And we're back with First and 45 with Every Arkansas and Coach Fitzhill, Dr. Prince, Pastor Drew, yours truly, Bishop Fred Harris. And man, this conversation just becomes surreal. We oftentimes we talk about this word that it's hard for Pastor Drew to say, recidivism, right. And to see having conversations about turning the faucet off. The young man, I want to talk about the clip for just a moment, the clip that we saw. And if you didn't know the guy, and if you were not really connected, because you knew he was telling a story, but the storyline was so filled with so much trauma, until on the average we would have given up on him. Yep. But if you really go back and look at that, he knew what the end was going to be, his end results. He couldn't wait to talk about becoming an entrepreneur. And I love the fact that this META 24 is focusing on taking these kids who've been given up on and providing them a level of hope. You're not looking at the issues or the things that they've gone through. And as Coach has just mentioned, which is really crazy. You said 50% of the 2%, their parents were incarcerated. Yeah,
yep. That's right. I'm saying, so and Drew talks about even foster care. I mean, that's why we got to break the cycle. So I'm going to show y'all this list, and of course names, but this is a juvenile list here in Little Rock, Pulaski County, homicide arrest, okay, of suspects under the age of 17. This was from January 1st, 2015 till the end of October of 2023. So just going back and looking at the data, when you start looking at these kids, 16, 17, 15, 17, 16, and what you see, 90% of them are young black men, okay? So what she's telling me of that, those are the perpetrators, in which we realize the percentage, that's why we have this show, right, is to be able to have this data. But what I'm saying is that there are 7 core social determinants fueling the juvenile pipeline, the prison population. And this is what I've been able to put together and know, based on talking and interviewing our students, what's leading to this this what I'm calling high disproportionate of prison population of black men. And so, the crime, you've done the crime, so as you said, you must do the time. But what we're trying to do is approach it from a prevention, intervention, and diversion method. And this allows for us to work the rehabilitation during incarceration and reintegrate them back into society. But let's take one step further, as what Pastor Drew was talking about. What this allows us to do, and looking at this from K through 13, that's why having an expert in education like Dr. Prince is invaluable, because once we start looking at this, we know that the first 1,000 days of the mother is the most critical, but you take that with the social environment and you're looking at a teenage mother giving birth in poverty, the data says that 50% of those black males will be incarcerated during their lifetime. So that's what the numbers say. So what we're trying to do, if this was been the epidemic that it is, and I was talking to Dr. Dilhay about it today, it's like cancer. You know, heart disease, you treat it. Cancer, you got people competing for, you got Cartile, you got ULMS, you got people competing for who's going to give the best service or treatment to cancerous patients. You don't have a whole lot of people competing for this population that Dr. Prince is working on. All right, so what if we become a specialist in treating this population? That's what I want to be for. That's what we want the Sky Force Center to be. We want to be able to grow hope, to the hopeless, and give a vision to the vision and bring light to this darkness. Because I'm looking here and seeing this is the grenade, because these are the kids arrested, not the kids that have been wounded or murdered. So we need to change this response to what's happening. And so, the first thing we got to do, and this is a spiritual issue, and I talk about this on a regular, is a teenage pregnancy and poverty. Okay, that's a sin issue that must be addressed. And if we don't address that as the sin that it is, then we are growing our prison population. Drew just talked about turning off the faucet. Well, you can't reproduce in prison. They do not allow the sexes to be together. Mm-hmm. So the prison's not reproducing its own population. We're growing our own prison population, and that's the reason from 1982, we had less than 300,000 people incarcerated. Today, in the 21st century, we've been as high as 2.4 million. Well, we have to change. So second thing, we have to look at, I know you'll be talking about this more in the second, in 2026, Drew, but we have fatherless generations, and we have a lack of positive role models. So you start taking teenage pregnancy, you start looking at the absent father issue in our country. And when I was in Israel and looking at other countries, do you know what the fatherless rate in Israel? Y'all have any idea?
It's got to be low.
Yeah, less than 10%. Wow. So you just got to start looking, and I just realized, so 90%, it is what it is. Wow. Learning capability and illiteracy rates. Traumatized social living environments producing post-traumatic stress syndrome. Kindergarten, elementary, middle, junior, senior high suspensions. Junior and senior high dropouts. Hopelessness produced by perceived reality of lack of access to opportunities, which Dr. Prince was just talking about. And Dr. Prince, you brought in a gentleman 2 weeks ago who about jobs, and he's looking at moving down here, and he said he can create. He has jobs. He has jobs waiting on people. And speak a little bit about how we hope to. You know more about that than me. How we hope to integrate him into the Meta 24, because we already have right now, you have brought 8 labs that we have created through the Meta. We have the industrial technology, okay, we have the esports lab, we have the music lab, we have the podcast lab, we have the CDL lab, fashion design lab, graphic design lab, and welding lab. And so now you're trying to add one more and speak to that lab.
Yeah, it's not even about adding another lab. A big part of what we do is, Meta is that bridge program, as we talked about earlier, that gets the kids' confidence up. We talk about all the time, 9 to 5, you make your living, 5 to 9, you make your millions, right? And so, the idea is that they can fill their time up, right? Fill this space up with the different skills that they're learning. They can get themselves a job. And so we make sure that, with between fiber splicing and what my guy Sergio is a really inspiring story. He came and spoke to the kids last 2 weeks ago. The idea is that we get them job ready. So there's really two things that you're building simultaneously when you're working with these kids. I think one of the things that even Drew was saying that I think is really important is we got to make this real for the kids. We're teaching them to be entrepreneurs, right? So you guys have visited the stores, so some of the stores that the kids have been a part of. They're already thinking, how do we move into, some of the kids we're talking about today, how do we create our own stores? How do we start creating jobs from what we're doing? The kids are already talking about that in their third week. So you've taken something that is theoretical, right? Because if we say on the radio, we're going to teach a kid to be an entrepreneur. There's a million entrepreneurship programs. This is way deeper than just teaching entrepreneurship, right? And so the kids, because it's so real to them in such a short time period, they go, what is going to be the manifestation of what we do? Where are our stores going to be? Do we need larger space to do manufacturing? Like, this is the conversation these kids are having already, which that's odd, right? Like, I've never seen that before, odd in a good way. But then when Sergio came in and was teaching them about cable termination, he said there's 1,000 jobs right now that they can't fill, that companies are about to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to figure out the robotic aspect of what they can do because they can't find people to do it. It starts between $80,000 and $100,000 a year, right? Sergio called me last week. He said, do you know how many of those kids, because he gave him this card, called me. He sent them the curriculum that we have. He's like, because they were just like, well, what can I do to read and learn? He sent them the curriculum, which is pretty darn dry if you don't have all the hands-on stuff. They emailed him back and said, what else you got? They read it. So if that doesn't tell you, and this is what's important, because you got two things that you can build. With Meta, you can build the community. You can build physical representation of what these kids can manufacture. My goal is for Arkansas Baptist to be the biggest 3D print farm. I wanted to be the biggest laser farm. I wanted to be the biggest producer of whatever, embroidered, That's what we want there, right? And so you can see that job. Can you imagine kids working all night producing what they got to do? But then with the workforce village, with welding, the reason why we teach all these other things is they can build these data centers, right? They can build all these other places that they can do. And so with, when we first met, I took you to see some of the fiber splicing and all that other stuff that we got, right? And so, I was talking with somebody else and they were like, hey, you should meet this guy, Sergio. Sergio just, in his spare time, converted part of his house, was training people. The college in Texas that trains people for this, it's $65,000 a semester to get into this college, right? And it's a job that doesn't even take a high school diploma if you don't want it to. And so our kids picked up on it. But that even today when I walked in, they're like, what about that job? Because now they believe they can do it.
That's right.
And so you really, if you talk about taking young people and building broken, it's easier to grow a man to feel,
repair one.
Repair one, is we're building their confidence and their competence. We're doing it for showing them to teach two things. They now believe, without any prompting from us, that they can go build stuff in the community in Little Rock. They're like, when are we going to do this? One kid has sent me a whole business plan. He says, I've connected with 3-4 companies in Little Rock. He's got a jewelry thing, he's got a shoe thing, He texted me over here. We're texting over right here. He said, hey, can you order this, and this? I see a way to do this, and this. We can start our own, whatever. He goes, there's a need here. So that's how they see it. But then we can train them through what the workforce village and all the other stuff that we got going on to go out and build the other things that this infrastructure this country needs. You said, can we specialize in that, right? What do? We build things, right? We create meaningful jobs in Meta. Somebody asked me that the other day. We create meaningful jobs in Meta. But if you can build your community and you can help them build the infrastructure of the future, and you can do that with the population we're talking about, you cooking with Crisco.
Well, that's kind of like what the vision in 1884 when Old Main was bringing. Same type of vision, same type of energy. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not looking at the restrictions, you're looking at the possibilities, and that's what Meta does. Hey, we'll be back for the fourth quarter. Dr. Flavin Prince, Chicago, Illinois, in the house in Little Rock. Pastor Drew, Bishop Waventile Fred. We'll be right back.
That's Meta right there.
Hey guys, Drew here, and for the last 11 years, we've worked together to build the Arkansas Dream Center. And over those years, things have grown, opportunities have happened, but we've continued to focus on that mission of every Arkansan chasing their God-given dream. And for that very reason, our corporation is actually known as Every Arkansan Inc. We have two ministries that really work together in tandem to see that mission take place. We have the Arkansas Dream Center, which is going out and we're reaching out to the communities. We're in those communities with mobile trucks. We're doing after school, we're feeding, we're doing all those things you know us for doing. But in addition, we realize that the church is the answer to a lot of society's problems, and there's one on every corner. So we have City Serve that comes along the side of the church, and they provide the resources. They provide furniture and clothing and diapers and all these things to the local churches so they can reach out to their neighbors. And together, when those two start to mesh, we're going out and we're bringing the churches alongside of them, and we're equipping and we're resourcing those churches. We can truly empower the local church with the resources they need to strengthen relationships in their communities. And that's what our vision is for Every Arkansan Inc. And we're so glad you're a part of it.
Then you lying in the rain, in the shine. God is good.
And we're back with First and 45, our final quarter, the fourth quarter here. A great night tonight. Some exciting things happening. I'm excited about graduation on this Friday. We're talking about Meta 24. And Pastor Drew, you were talking during the break about a statistic, something that you learned.
Yeah, a study just ranked Little Rock as the 5th neediest city in America.
Wow.
And when it starts to looking at this, in the neediest cities, a large number of people lack access to adequate food, health care, shelter. But the real big one is the neediest cities, they've got to address problems like the high school dropout rate,
Yep.
education, preparing people for jobs, all of this. We are not going to economically just magically wake up and win the Powerball as a city. We are going to have to educate the workforce with the skills that they need for the careers that are there in order to move past this. And unfortunately, the modern typical education environment isn't going to get us there.
Not at all.
It's going to take looking at those skill gaps and saying, okay, man, who wants to be an electrician? Who wants to be a plumber? I mean, Flav was talking about 3D printing farms, was talking about laser engraving. These are skills that a lot of people look at and say, well, why would we need that? Mm-hmm. The truth of the matter is when you're purchasing stuff this Christmas, more than likely, a lot of that was 3D printed in some other country, and it's all stuff that could have been done right here at home, employing our young people. And then the cool thing about the way this modernization has gone with just 3D printing is it's like, well, I've got an idea. Well, guess what? Tomorrow you can have a product. Mm-hmm. It's not what That's it used to be back in the day. Well, we're going to have to go over to this other country and figure out the molds and figure out this, and in 6 months or a year or whatever you might have a container of product over here. No, we can be so flexible that product can be on the market tomorrow. And what's so crazy is used to people would say, well, I have this great idea, but man, they can never pull it off. We've got the and the skills right here to pull it off.
If you came over, I need to let you meet my man Barrett. I call him Pepper Sauce, okay, because he's been putting together 3D printers. I'm telling you, this kid, you have seen a total change in his whole personality ever since he stepped into the camp.
And when I talked to my daughter about 3D printing, because she's talked about wanting one for Christmas, I said, don't you have one of those at school? She said, yeah, but it's in a closet.
Yeah.
It's like a technology that can open up these kids' eyes. It's just kept in a closet.
Right, yeah.
Well, the other thing about it is, like, while we're sleeping on, without putting it all out there, it's not just a neat thing to say we're the largest printing farm. People in America, things have shifted to where now, I think it's something like 6 to 10% of things sold at Target, all these different places are just done from people starting a print farm out of their basement and then growing it to 250 printers or whatever the case may be. But it attracts, right? And just with everything that we have to think about, you have 3D print farms, so our kids at competitions putting everything together. And by the second week, when the new wave of the 3D printers came in, the ones you saw, the bamboos, like, they didn't even hesitate to, like, all right, we're going to put it together. They put they did this unboxing video, and they're competing and they're cheating and they're all this sort of stuff, and but that's a skill, right? They learned to put this thing together, and now it's not even like it's just second nature. They're like, this is what we do, but then they're setting it up, and some people doing the program, and some people doing this and that, and all these different aspects of it, and it's now become normal to them. It's up to us as the adults to go, oh, you know what we're going to do with this? I've got the vision plan. I'm like, we're going to have this here, this here, this here. But the robotics now that are coming out with it, the robotics that are coming out that you can now just get a robotic arm for like $4,500 and teach that to take the trays off at night and put this, and this. All these skills that we can teach these kids and they have access to, they're going to look up and like, wait, I've created a viable opportunity for me, both on my resume and I'm making this money, and so there is an opportunity around every single piece of machinery that we have in there, where there's 3-4 applications, useful, relevant applications around it, and the more and more intentional that we are in that way, the more you're going to just solve these issues, right? People have something to do. Right, and you can speak to it. How many of those kids are sitting at that computer for hours?
Oh, this weekend, and then I'm there. They said I'm sleepy. And then they said, I said no, we're going to bed. They will stay over there this weekend. I know they spent over 10 hours this weekend, Friday and Saturday. 5 hours on Saturday, 6 hours. I mean, they'll stay over there till. And you don't have to tell them anything. I mean, that's the most exciting thing about it. As Dr. Prince always said, the kid is the curriculum. Then, they know, and once they learn to do it, then you just really just there to be there just in case something happens. They don't need you.
Yeah, and I think the other cool thing is the opportunity. 60% of the products that are sold on Amazon are small businesses.
Yeah.
You'd have to get your product, go sit before Walmart and pray that they'll put it in a few stores. These kids can launch a product and have it for sale on Amazon in a couple of days, on Etsy same day.
Right.
I mean, and we're not talking, when I say 60%, we're not talking, a few odds and ends here. We're talking, that's hundreds of billions of dollars of revenue. When you look at the GDP of Arkansas, I want to say it's like less than $60,000 a person or something. You can change the economics of our entire state very quickly with a group of eager kids that are given the resources and the access to this because they want to go for it. The old days of programming with a Red Bull and pizza in one hand is no longer programming. It's actually building products.
Right. And I'm going to tell you, this is disruption model. When I think back, we all grew up, maybe, with my grandmother riding in a cab. She would catch the cab to go downtown and do that. And so now you realize Uber disrupted the whole transportation division. And now nobody ever thought about it, but Uber's technology because of the phones.
Yep.
And that's what you do when you.
All this is an app.
It's an app, and so now you don't have to go wave out there and do. Hey, as soon as you get off the plane, you can order an Uber.
Yep.
It's waiting on you, and it takes it there, and it charges you the credit card. You don't have to pay anybody. Grandma used to take that money out, and the $250. They have to pay for.
You watch an accountant. Why is it so expensive?
Yeah.
Well, guess we ain't going out to eat.
But that's what I see Meta to be, a disruptor of the education process, but for effectiveness and efficiency. So, it's one thing to disrupt something, and it's not improving. This is interrupting to decrease their literacy rate, to help our traumatized children who come from situations that are no fault of their own. And those are things that we are seeing our kids from a rehabilitation process, a diversion process that we want to do to really allow them to sink into to developing themselves from inside out, from ways that they've never had the opportunity to do so. So, man, hey, if you're not doing anything on Friday at 11 o'clock, we want you to come and witness firsthand what these students have done in this Meta 24 Entrepreneurial Bootcamp Academy on the campus of Arkansas Baptist College. Just so you know, these 10 students, and we also have 3 from Premier that signed up for to take the Intro to Entrepreneurship class, and then our students wanted some hours, and so we're able to grant those as well. But first, I just want to give a tremendous round of applause to Dr. Prince, faculty and staff, who's been here with us the whole entire 3 weeks, man.
I had to fly down. I had to fly down Miss Simpson's husband. I was like,
yeah, she did. He did.
I was like, you can be mad at me.
We have some people we're interviewing right now that can elevate the Meta deliverables here in the state of Arkansas, and because we think once the kids are exposed to it, like I always say, once the brain is stretched, it never gains its original dimension, and that's what has happened with those kids. And to take them out, I was telling Mr. Crump, DYS, I think our best recruiters this week will be when those Meta kids go back, and they're going to be able to expose, and then hopefully, I know 9 of them say they want to come back, and so praying to God that He will make that happen. Bishop, we didn't get that beginning prayer, but we're not gonna miss this ending prayer. Yep. So I'm gonna let you close this out. Hey, listen again. Let us know if you want to come over and be a part. We're gonna be serving catfish after the graduation on Friday at the Arkansas Baptist College Bistro. So hope you can join us. Bishop.
Graduation is on this Friday. God, we thank you for tonight. Thank you for Dr. Flav. Thank you for Coach and all of the team that's working together to make this amazing transformation happen for these kids. We give you glory, honor, and praise. Keep us safe and keep us under your blood. In Jesus' name, amen.